Yes, people, this is Truth Hitman, and welcome to part 2 of Elvis Presley, the king of rock and roll. Now, there's a video going around on social media, and especially Facebook, and it's a video of one of Elvis Presley's songwriters, called Otis Blackwell. And he appeared on the David Letterman show called Late Night. But that's not the title that they gave the video, the one that's going around on Facebook. They gave it another name, Otis Blackwell, the original man Elvis Presley imitated, as if to add credibility to the myth or, the rumors, the lies going around about Elvis, that he stole songs from black people and, he stole their style of singing and whatever not, Let's play the video.
They showed him the song and
Elvis, they would play the song through,
and he recorded the tune, I suppose.
Now, we were talking about this afternoon. Is it true that when he heard you performing the material, that he would imitate your style when he recorded the song?
Well, they did come out very close to the demos then.
Yeah. And did you feel funny about him imitating so closely what you were putting on tape, or not?
Well, no, I felt a little funny the first time, then after he sold 4 million, I didn't.
Yeah, it takes the sting out of it, I guess, sure. Now, did you ever meet Elvis Presley?
No, I never met Elvis.
How many years were you writing the songs for him?
Well, I had signed up with him on the contract to be a writer of just his company for 5 years.
Okay, that's where he gave the game away. So obviously he was Elvis's songwriter. He signed up to write with the company RCA. This is the label that Elvis was with at the time. RCA bought Elvis's contract from his previous label that he was on, from a man called Sam Phillips, who was the owner of the previous label that Elvis Presley was on, called Sun Records. And that's where Elvis developed his style, long before he was, knew about Otis Blackwell. Elvis started out singing ballads, country music, rhythm and blues, all kinds of music. And obviously he started off in the church, etc. And he developed his own style. And you can hear it on his first record that he released, called That's Alright Mama, which was a regional hit. Elvis was making hits in his hometown before he became famous. It shows you the man was talented, And then Otis Blackwell was one of Elvis's songwriters when he was signed to a major label, which was RCA, And obviously, as a songwriter, what do? You get someone else to sing your song, or you sing it as a demo, and then you pass it on to the singer that you want to sing the songs. And what does the singer do? They have to learn the song, isn't it? And then, put their own mark on it, which Elvis did. Now, if you look up Otis Blackwell's demos, he also wrote Return to Sender, Elvis Presley improved on these songs greatly. That's why they became hits, And Elvis put his own mark on it. If you listen to Teddy Bear, which was sung by the same songwriter, Otis Blackwell, although he didn't write the song himself, but he sang a demo for Elvis. Elvis improved on the song greatly again. And, unless you're being ignorant or blatantly disingenuous, you have to admit that Elvis Presley was a much better singer than Otis Blackwell. And he took the songs to a new level, to a level that's unmatched until this very day. No one don't sing Otis Blackwell's songs the way Elvis sings them. Don't Be Cruel, All Shook Up, which gave Elvis his first #1 hit in Britain. But Elvis Presley's first hit was Heartbreak Hotel. But let's continue.
And in that time, you never met him. Why was that?
I never met him. The early part of the what we were doing, I never wanted to meet him. I didn't want to meet him at the time. I wanted to, but didn't at that time. We had something I felt that was going pretty good. I thought as long as my songs was getting over to him and he was doing them the way that I would like for him to be done, in a sense, we had met.
Yeah. So you actually.
So, obviously, you know, as people who put in work in the music business, if you create something, you want recognition for your work, innit? So obviously, there's a little exaggeration there, you know. Elvis imitating his style, as if, you know, Elvis was already famous before he even knew about Otis Blackwell. Or he was already famous before he sang Otis Blackwell songs. Yeah? So, and the fact that, you know, Otis Blackwell signed up, you know, 5 years, he said, shows you that Elvis didn't steal nothing. It was part of the deal, innit? Okay, so let's go on to the next video. Yeah. And this is a video about Otis Blackwell as a songwriter. And obviously Elvis is included in his story.
Around this time in 1956, RCA promotion man Steve Schultz played a demo for Elvis Presley while sipping coffee at a coffee shop and told him that Otis Blackwell had composed it. Presley was a fan of Otis's work as an artist and songwriter, so he listened to the demo and learned the song within minutes. The song, of course, was Don't Be Cruel, which was featured as the A-side with another R&B cover, Big Mama Thornton's 1953 classic hit, Hound Dog. Don't Be Cruel provided Elvis with his third gold record and stayed in the #1 position for an astonishing 11 weeks on Billboard's pop singles chart during the late summer of 1956. Blackwell composed yet another masterpiece, All Shook Up, inspired by his publisher Goldie Goldhawk, who had shaken a bottle of Pepsi and in teasing told him to write a song about that since Otis can write about anything. Within minutes, Blackwell composed the song. Originally recorded by David Hill as a rockabilly, Presley got a hold of it and wasn't quite satisfied with the lyrics. Otis rewrote the lyrics, which provided Elvis with his 9th gold record. Elvis Presley was listed as a co-writer of the song, though he never written any piece of music whatsoever. It was an unfair practice of Colonel Tom Parker, Elvis's manager, that in demand, Elvis should be listed as a songwriter so he would receive a share of the royalties. Very unfair for Otis as well, but that was part of the deal. So he had to go along with it.
Okay, so it was Elvis Presley's manager who would offer people a deal, innit? If you want Elvis to sing your song, then you have to give him part of the credits for writing the song, blah, 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 blah. It wasn't just Otis Blackwell, and it wasn't just, this ain't an isolated incident. This was like in the music industry, period, even to this day sometimes. Have you heard of a man called Coxsone Dodd? Read up about him or watch a documentary called Marley, where he would treat his artists bad, yeah, and give them some little wages to live on and don't give them no money for the song. A lot of artists, reggae artists back in the 60s or in Coxsone Dodd's time were famous in other countries and poor in their own country. You understand? At least Otis Blackwell and these other people that were singing for or writing songs for Elvis, they got paid. What happened to Coxsone Dodd? Okay, let's continue. So, Elvis Presley's manager, Colonel Tom Parker, tried to muscle in on Dolly Parton and others, and then, you know, as time changed and singers were writing their own material, etc., etc., time changed and people started to stand up to him. You know what I'm saying?
You had the moxie, not to mention the good business sense, to, for example, when you wrote I Will Always Love You, and Elvis Presley was going to record it, and suddenly you said, whoa, no, tell me about that.
Well, actually, Elvis loved the song. That was when he and Priscilla were having their problems, which I met her recently, and she told me that Elvis loved that song, and he had sung that to her on the day of their divorce. He said he kind of leaned in and sang a little bit of I Will Always Love You. And so she told me how much that he loved that song. This was recently, we were doing some business. But during that time, it's no fault of Elvis, you know, he loved the song. But Tom Parker was in defense of Tom Parker, too. Colonel Tom, his manager. You know, he made some wise decisions, evidently. So he knew what he was doing. But that goes back to that other thing, because Elvis was ready to record it. I told my friends and people that he was recording it, and they were in town to do the recording. They invited me down to the session, and Colonel Tom Parker calls me.
I called her, and listened to the way he spoke to Dolly Parton, as he would do to anyone else, yeah? To get, you know, greed, to get the, you know, publishing rights and etc. Patronizing, bully boy tactics. Just, you know, I think she's probably being polite here. You know, it wasn't, you know, Colonel Parker made wise decision. Yeah, so it wasn't Elvis, it was his manager. And in those days, you know, back in the day, when you're starting out and you're trying to make it, coming from poverty, you know, Elvis felt indebted to his manager, making him famous or whatever. But, you know, his manager made some good decisions for Elvis, making him famous, making him rich, but also destroying a lot of relationships with songwriters and music producers. Yeah, he made some bad decisions for Elvis. And listen to the way he spoke to her, though. This is his manager.
The day before, and says, now you do know that Elvis is recording your song, and you do know that Elvis don't record anything that he don't publish, or at least get half the publishing on. I said, really?
Which is to say he would have the rights.
He would have the rights, at least half of the rights to the publishing of the song. I said, I can't do that. This song's already been a hit with me, and this is in my publishing company, and obviously this is going to be one of my most important copyrights, and I can't give you half the publishing. Of course, that's stuff that I'm leaving for my family. And he said, well, then we can't record the song, and I was just heartbroken. I said, well, I'm really sorry.
Try and muscle his way in, you get me?
But I can't do that.
But
so I didn't.
That took guts.
Well, it didn't to me. It seemed to be the thing to do. It hurt me because I was so disappointed I was going to have to tell my friends Elvis didn't record it. But I just knew that was not right, and that was not... If it had been, maybe, if I didn't have my own publishing company, had the song not already been a hit, it might have been different. But I couldn't give somebody half of a song that had already been number one.
Okay. So let me give you another example where Elvis, his manager, spoiled the relationship of people who had good intentions for Elvis.
I thought we would be great friends for life. The last day I saw him, he handed me a quickly scribbled telephone number. He said, if you try and reach me, this is the number to call. Like he knew he was being watched and monitored by Parker. And I called that number the next day to talk to him. And by that time, the colonel made sure that I was persona non grata in the Elvis world. So I never saw him again or talked to him again after that.
See? Another incident. This was about the song Suspicious Minds.
Chip's Moment successfully protected the publishing of Suspicious Minds for Mark James and himself. Moment had won the battle with Parker, but would ultimately lose the war. The Memphis recording should have been the beginning of a long and fruitful relationship between Moment and Elvis. Parker thought otherwise, and saw to it that Elvis would never record with Moman and the Memphis Boys again.
Destroying relationships with songwriters and producers, you know. So he made some bad decisions for Elvis. Not only that, Elvis Presley, you know, done an interview, and he admitted, you know, that, you know, he's never written a song in his life. So when you see Elvis getting credit for songs he didn't write, that was his management team or his manager. Yeah, so Elvis wasn't hiding anything himself. He was honest, and he basically, you know, if anything, he was letting the public know the truth.
Did you write most of the lyrics for your tunes?
No, I've never written a song.
Never written a song?
I've never written a song, and I wish I could. I wish I was like some of my rivals, Carl Perkins and Gene Vincent. Those guys, they're pretty good songwriters, but me, I did good to get out of high school, you know. And,
well,
I've never written a song.
Well, you just keep singing. But
yeah, so if anything, you know, he's exposed his manager. Let's see, boom, boom, boom. This is a woman, one of the co-writers, May. She was one of the co-writers for Elvis Presley's first hit, Heartbreak Hotel. Yeah.
You've written several songs, but the one that everybody remembers is, of course, Heartbreak Hotel by Elvis Presley.
You used to be kind of upset with people when they'd say, "Well, I've written more songs than just Heartbreak Hotel," but now you're really accepting it.
I'm enjoying every bit of it, and don't mind if they think I've only written the one, because it's a classic, and I was pleased. Another thing that happened to me within here just 2 or 3 weeks here that's interesting, they called me from Graceland Estates and told me that they would like to honor me January the 8th there, which is Elvis's birthday. Actually, it was January the 10th that he actually recorded Heartbreak Hotel, but they're going to celebrate the 30th anniversary of recording Heartbreak Hotel in Memphis on January the 8th.
Oh,
okay, so, you know, where else are we going? Okay, so this is the guy, Glenn Reeves, yeah? He's the man that sang Heartbreak Hotel as a demo for Elvis Presley. Does that mean that Elvis, you know, imitated him and stole his style? No, it doesn't. That's, you know, it's a demo. The singer is supposed to learn the song and whatnot. But check this out. Glenn Reeves was an American rockabilly singer, songwriter, and radio DJ. He released 8 singles in his recording career, but is best remembered for his demo of the song Heartbreak Hotel, which later became Presley's first #1 hit. Yeah. And remember I telling you about Elvis Presley would sing the song better than the person who's, you know, better than the demo version.
Heartbreak Hotel was the one that really brought him to the front. It was something different. It was just the way he did it was different. It wasn't much of a song. I was in the studio when he recorded it. Of course, Jordan Harris were not on it, but I was sitting there and listening to him. And if you'd heard the demo of the person that had made a little demo for him to learn it from, you thought, man, this ain't no hit. But when this guy got through with it, it was just a great recording. It's just the way he did things.
Yeah. Okay. Coming towards the end of this video, people will say, you know, "Right, you must love Elvis bad, you know," or, you know, "You're a proper Elvis fan." No, it's not that. It's about telling the truth. Yeah. And true, you don't know. You think just white people like Elvis. Enough black people like Elvis. Elvis transcends race. Yeah. And it's an injustice to say that, you know, he stole songs, he was a racist, and, you know, he stole his style from black people. It's an injustice because a lot of people want to play Elvis's music and they like Elvis and feel inhibited because of these false rumors going around about him. Enough people like Elvis Presley. Think are just white people. Let me see. It's B.B. King there. You know what I mean? Black girls as well, swooning over Elvis. He transcended race. You know, so we've got some people chatting lies about the man. So we have to tell the truth. You understand? We have to tell the truth. Now, remember that song Hound Dog? People saying, you know, Elvis stole Hound Dog from a black woman. Another lie. Hound Dog was written by two white guys. See them there? Lieber and Stoller. Right? Now here's the story how Elvis got to sing the song.
Yeah. And he said, Elvis did Hound Dog last week, and it's just came out, and it's #1 already.
Yeah.
And I said, that's groovy.
Was that your first blockbuster? Your first really big one?
I think it was our first super pop hit. Most of the other hits we had before that were rhythm and blues.
I see. What was that song about exactly?
Well, the original song that was written for Big Mama Thornton was written about, it was the story of a woman kicking a sponger out of her house.
Mm-hmm.
And the original lyric was different. It was, you ain't nothing but a hound dog, quit snooping around my door. You can wag your tail, but I ain't gonna feed you no more.
Mm-hmm.
Now when she did the song, and it was kind of it was a hit. It was a big rhythm and blues hit. Then it was covered by some lounge acts, and they changed the words. And Presley heard a lounge act with the changed words, with Rabbit, and he cut that version.
Okay, that was 3 years later. Elvis cut that version. So, you know, Big Mama Thornton had 3 years of, you know, her song being a rhythm and blues hit, etc. And then Elvis done his version 3 years later, and, you know, he made a hit with it. So stop with the lies. Elvis did not steal Hound Dog from Big Mama Thornton. And he didn't steal songs from black people. That's a lie. Do your research and stop being lazy. Yeah? And Elvis always gave credit to the origin of his music or where it came from.
It is basically, rock and roll music is basically gospel or rhythm and blues. And or it sprang from that. And people have been adding to it, adding instruments to it, experimenting with it.
Okay, there you have it.